Well, that kind of covers Raw, but that discussion kind of dovetails nicely into something I think is worth discussing for SmackDown. And that is what Jinder Mahal has been doing to build up the WWE title match with Shinsuke Nakamura at Hell in a Cell. And we won't delve too deeply into this for too long because this is a No Mercy pre-show.
Sure.
But, kind of in that vein of, you're not wrong, but I hate the way you're saying it. Jinder has kind of been addressing Shinsuke about how it's not worth it to come after this title because you see how these people treat me, and that's exactly how they're going to treat you. And Jinder has been that kind of heel for a while now, pretty much since he won the title. But in these last couple of weeks, again, like we said before with WWE and the line, he's started creeping up to that line and talking about Shinsuke and casting it as how the audience thinks versus how he thinks. And this last week, he more or less just ignored the line and went stampeding across it. He stopped talking about how the audience is so stupid and jingoistic that they probably think thus and such. And brought out the full-on, oh, you rook, so funny, and just a couple more things like that, throwing in Mr. Miyagi. And I thought it was interesting that that's where the crowd started chanting, "That's too far," versus "you rook, so funny."
Yeah.
But it makes me question who the fuck is writing for this.
Yeah.
Is it Michael Hayes or is it another alleged racist? I don't know. But
sure, a lot from that generation, I'll say that.
Yeah. It's just, this does nothing for Jinder. Mainstream outlets are writing about this. There's an article in the Washington Post about this very thing. And, it just doesn't cast Jinder in a good light. It doesn't cast WWE in a good light. It doesn't cast pro wrestling in a good light. And to borrow a phrase from that Washington Post article, it takes the heat off the wrestlers and it puts the heat on the company.
Right.
Which, that's been the WWE's model, is just ignore building up your own stars in favor of building up the brand. But,
sure,
this doesn't even do anything good for the WWE. It just makes you look kind of shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely starts to kind of lift the veil of kayfabe for sure. I mean, first of all, the delivery and material are so fucking corny. I know that, Jinder's probably feeling like I don't know this, but I'm assuming that Jinder's probably feeling like he's in, a spot he never thought he'd be, and he doesn't want to fuck it up. So he doesn't want to rock the boat, backstage. But dude, when you have to come out and literally say the line, "You rook, so stupid," you got to know that's the time to make a stand. When your cronies, and I get it, your heels and whatever, you could have egg on your face, sure. But when they're laughing in such a corny way that it is never for a second believable, and they're fucking rolling on the floor all the place, it's just too much. You're hitting the gas too hard in that, I know it's their heels, get away with whatever, but it's just, you're not, because you're doing it so softball with the laugh, you're not allowing people to become emotionally invested in what you're saying. You're basically just giving him, the fast food of promos and reactions. The same with this is what Shinsuke looks like when he's taking a shit. It's just so lowbrow and no effort being made. I've gone on for years, in my personal life, defending that I do think lowbrow humor can work, but the thing is,
sure,
it's so easy to do, and so many people can just come up and do it. You better do it the best that you can, and I don't think this is it. Not for WWE or Jinder. This is literally just, let's put in the least amount of effort that we can put in, and just to get us through to Hell in a Cell, or at least get us past No Mercy so we can really kind of sink our teeth into Hell in a Cell promotion,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not into it. I feel like it's just, it's just, this is to me the tipping point where anyone else that hasn't been behind Jinder from the start, or say that he's not, you know, he's not working as champion. Like, this is where I kind of start to lean towards your direction of that argument, and I'm starting to be like, well, I was willing to give this a chance, but if this is what we're going to get from week to week, and he did a similar promo last week too, as I recall.
Mhm.
If this is what we're going to get week to week, then I'd rather just, just talk about the match and not have either one of them show up on the show, because I feel like that's more powerful than whatever this Drek is.
Yeah, and that's the disappointing thing, because there are elements of something a little higher brow here. Because
Yeah.
to open up the promo this week, he started talking about, this is his happy face, this is his angry face, and it's the same face. And if you're looking on social media, there is an Expressive Asians hashtag, kind of railing against how Hollywood has so much trouble finding Asian actors that emote well, and there's been kind of a rising tide of Asian actors and just people of Asian ethnicity in general kind of clapping back against that. And it felt like Jinder was trying to mirror that same sentiment, that same Hollywood sentiment of just being the bad guy. And then you go and fuck that up with just straight up playing into stereotypes.
Yeah.
And like the last two promos have been especially bad about that, because there are little bits and pieces of those promos where if you take them and examine them in isolation, you can say, okay, this can work. We can build something off of this. But you can't look at promos like that, because they don't exist in bits and pieces in isolation. There is no vacuum in which to examine them. You have to look at them in context, and in context, it's a garbage fire.
Right.
And that sucks, because Jinder can do better. I feel like I've been on the Jinder bandwagon longer and hardier than perhaps most, because when I saw him in NXT in that Gold Rush tournament against Seth Rollins, I thought there's something there. I thought he did good work with Seth. I thought he made Seth look pretty good. And I don't think he's ever really done anything bad in his WWE run.
No.
So to see this happen, to see Jinder trotted out and given this kind of material, it's incredibly disheartening.
Well, and it's an interesting, dissection, because it kind of feels like there's two main issues. They don't know what it should be. And when they're kind of like the promo is a beach, and they have like the little metal detectors sweeping over, for the gold. When they get to like the fucking super high beeps and whatnot, and hey, dig here, that you're going to find something great, they just fucking breeze right over it. They don't even stop or anything. And there's a certain like identity thing, because it's like, it seems like they just want to go at times the generic, this is just, chicken shit heel kind of stuff. And then it seems like they really want to touch on the social aspect of what and who Jinder is and what he represents. Because like you were saying, there were other gyms like last week. They're doing, that corny, stupid laugh shit that I didn't like. Now, like for the first 10 minutes of that promo, I was like, I'm not into this. This is stupid. And then like right after, Jinder does his rundown of Shinsuke and says like, here's all the stupid fucking, essentially all the stupid American jokes we could make. Then he fucking immediately does like a hairpin turn 180, and it's just like, you guys really think that's funny? You think that's fucking comedy? No, that's stupid. Like this is me fucking pointing the finger at you and showing you how, idiotic you guys are. Like that's great. There's so many fucking folds in there. Like you got the heel, calling out the audience and saying they're fucking idiots. You got, some truth in there, and you kind of build into, like you're playing into, we know this is corny, but we needed to do it to get to this other place, you know. So it works in a lot of ways, you know. Being, you know, enjoying writing as I do, like, yeah, this is how you build a scene, you know, to get to a certain emotional level. And then that gets breezed over, and they get right back to doing the corny shit again, and seemingly for less reason than they did last time. Like, you've already proven the point, and I suppose that's another thing that WWE does in general quite often. Like, they will prove the fucking point to death. Like the Dolph Ziggler shit. They only needed to have him do the entrance shit 1 week to already prove what Dolph is saying. But no, because they don't have anything else for him to fucking do. They're going to have him trot it out for another 3 to 4 weeks until they get to the fucking Hell in a Cell build. And maybe Bobby Roode pops up to fucking call him out on his shit, you know, to prove that he's not just an entrance and whatnot. Same thing here with Jinder. Like, instead of, all right, we proved our point, now let's move on to the next. It's like, no, we're going to hammer that point in again and again and again until you're fucking sick of it. That's how we're going to get heat, which is tired and boring and what WWE does all the time.